Hello YouTube, it's your boy GZTV back with another video. Just got off work, just hopped out the shower, and we are here with the first of two videos today. After this I'm going to go finish my episode of The Walking Dead that I started this morning, and then we are going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar's album. That video probably won't come out until around 6ish, but yeah, we're going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar's album, or an album of Kendrick's called Damn, obviously you guys know. Lollapalooza is coming up this week, so I'm going to be kind of hyping up Kendrick Lamar. He's like the main headliner, and there's really no other performers that have like old ass albums that I could talk about. So we're choosing to do Kendrick today. So we're going to get into the plot and the critical reception of the spinoff of Dexter New Blood. We just started episode 1. We just started watching it. We have 9 more episodes for the rest of the series and possibly the rest of the franchise. I'm not really sure what they're going to do with this. I guess we'll have to see at the end of the season if it's worth making another season. But let's get into it. So the new Dexter takes place in Iron Lake, New York, where Dexter Morgan, played by Michael C. Hall, as we know, going by the name Jim Lindsay, is running through the snowy woods attempting to hunt a stag, which is like a white deer pretty much. When he finds them, a rare albino stag, he is unable to shoot him and leaves for his cabin. So this is like a wonder of nature. He's like, holy shit, it's a white stag. As at his remote cabin, he briefly talks with an imaginary iteration of his sister Deborah, as we know is played by Jennifer Carpenter, before she just disappears. And that's kind of what the image, the thumbnail, whatever you want to call it down here, kind of shows. So on his way into town, Dexter is stopped by Angela Bishop, played by Julia Jones, the small town's chief of police, and it is revealed that they are in a relationship. So, obviously Dexter had to get a new life, and that means pretty much a new person to be with in a relationship. Maybe it's a cover. I mean, they have sex in the car. It seems pretty passionate. Maybe they like each other a lot. It could be a cover for Dexter to make sure that, like, people know, oh, hey, this is just an ordinary guy. He has a new life and stuff. So, yeah. They have sex in Angela's car before Angela's called for a minor case, forcing her to leave. Funny enough, she's a part of the police department, and Dexter worked for Miami Metro, so I think that's a cool little full circle moment you kind of get with this story. Dexter heads into town where he works as a shopkeeper at Fred's Fish and Game, a pretty regular job. A young customer, Matt Caldwell, played by Steve M. Robertson, arrives to buy a knife and hunting rifle. While Dexter sells him the knife, he must wait 24 hours before buying the rifle, as his FBI background check is flagged, which means that he's done something recently that has caused an alert, caused not some trouble, but caution, Although disappointed, Matt calmly leaves with the knife. He's like, yeah, whatever, you can check that up, I'll be there tomorrow, type thing. So that night, Dexter goes on a date with Angela at a bar. They're doing this line dancing thing. Their date is interrupted when Angela's daughter invites friends to her house, forcing Angela to leave early and to be a mom, and to kind of tell them, hey, we can't have all these people over. At the bar, Dexter is approached again by Matt, so it's a small town, obviously. You're going to find the same people around every corner, pretty much. Although Dexter reiterates that he can't get him the rifle early, Matt invites him to a party the next day at his father's house. Yeah, so fucking convincing. A mysterious hitchhiker, who's played by Jack Alcott, soon arrives at the town and takes an interest in Dexter, and this is kind of like the looming storyline that's going on in the first episode. You're like, okay, does this guy know who Dexter is? Is he coming to get him? Is he getting vengeance? And we'll obviously soon in the episode figure out what this guy is here for, what his purpose is. The next day, Dexter goes hunting again, but feels he is being watched, finding footsteps in the snow, and he's getting suspicions because obviously Dexter's a really smart guy. He's like, oh shit, there's someone on my trail, He expresses his concerns to Deborah, but she tells him to adhere to his new life. Don't go searching. Don't chase things that you shouldn't be chasing. Petrol billionaire Edward Olson, played by Frederick Lean, is in town intending to open a business, which is met with backlash from many townspeople. Dexter's boss, Fred Jr., played by Michael Surreal Creighton, tells him to give Matt the rifle as his records were cleared, and has Dexter deliver it himself, because these are really good friends to the shop and all that stuff, and they want to have the good A1 customer service or whatever. Dexter arrives at the party where Matt's friend Bill takes him upstairs to see Matt. Is like, oh, here he is. Yada, yada, yada. They are forced to leave the room when they find him having sex. Bill then snorts cocaine and tells Dexter that he and Matt were involved in a boat accident which resulted in many deaths. And this was the thing that couldn't get his FBI cleared. And it's funny because Matt pretty much took Bill's girl, which is kind of funny, really. But yeah. In exchange for money, Bill covered for Matt, but his guilt and treatment by the townspeople are destroying him emotionally because they have a pretty bad rep in the town because these people were obviously at like the court when this happened, and they're like, oh shit, this guy is up to no good. Realizing his mistake, he asks Dexter not to tell anyone. Dexter delivers the rifle to Matt and briefly considers attacking him before just leaving the house. He's like, and he has like that vision of him hitting someone in the face, and he has that same type of vision when he's like at the bank one time, and it's really interesting. Like his dark passenger, as it was called in the original series, is starting to creep back in. Returning to his cabin, Dexter finds someone inside and sneaks up behind in order to attack him with an axe. Like there's no shame in his game. He confronts the mysterious person who reveals himself to be his son Harrison, which this is one of the early things in the season that's really not going to make any sense. Like what the hell is Harrison doing back in this story? And we're not really sure what the time lapse is. I'm sure it's probably a good 10 to 15 years, but yeah. Like, what the hell is Harrison? Like, how did Harrison know that Dexter was living this life? Deborah reminds Dexter of all the deaths that plagued his previous life. Dokes, LaGuerta, Rita, and Deborah herself. Telling him not to get involved with Harrison's life. Like, this kid should not be around you because all you do is cause trouble. And it's not like that. Like, Deborah, like, necessarily would say this, but it's kind of Dexter in his mind saying, okay, like, I probably shouldn't talk to this kid, really. Dexter claims not to be the man he's looking for and gives him money to leave the town. Obviously, it's super suspicious. Harrison's like, oh, well, you're still my dad. I know that for a fact. I remember you as a kid, all this stuff. As Harrison leaves, Dexter stares at a photo of both when he was a baby and decides to burn it, pretty much representing him leaving his past life behind. So Dexter once again hunts the stag and eventually finds him. Instead of shooting him, he approaches the stag and pets it. You know, it's a wonder of nature. He wanted to kind of admire it. And suddenly, out of nowhere, the stag is shot by a gleeful Matt to Dexter's shock by the gun that Dexter gave to him. Dexter finally snaps and hits Matt in the head with his rifle, knocking him out, which is something he envisioned, possibly a foreshadowing, at Matt's dad's house. His dark passenger suddenly returns, noting it's been a long time since he felt the need, and what would have been the new spinoff if he wasn't out there killing people? Obviously, they had to bring back this character, or else it wouldn't have felt right. He covers the interior of his shed with plastic and straps a naked Matt to a table. Classic Dexter. He confronts Matt about the stag and the boat accident, trying to get everything he needs out of this guy. To justify killing him, to justify saving him, whatever. That sort of thing. Let me make sure I'm not in the Discord. I'm going to close Discord so I'm not in it, but yeah. Matt confesses his part but defends his actions, blaming his troubled childhood. And, you know, it's funny because Dexter had the same type of childhood. And when Dexter claims he will still kill him, Matt angrily states that his father will kill Dexter when he finds out. Nevertheless, Dexter stabs Matt in the chest, killing him, and that just represents Dexter's back. It's official. Like, he hasn't really changed. Obviously, he changed his identity and his life, but he hasn't changed mentally, like his traits and his motives and his urges. Dexter stores Matt's blood on a makeshift microscopic slide, but decides to drop it with the corpse. He can't leave more evidence behind. Again, that LaGuerta thing. He learned from that. He chops up Matt's body, placing it in bags, despite Deb's insistence to stop. He then drives to the town, finding Harrison just as he is about to leave town. He confesses to being his father and decides to take him home, which will be kind of cool to have Harrison in the early parts of the season. I don't know how long it'll last, but yeah. As they enter the house, blood trails are seen outside his cabin, and obviously Harrison, this might be where they have Harrison find out that Dexter's a serial killer. That would be kind of interesting. So, yeah, you know, kind of reviewing this a little bit, summing it up a little bit. It was okay. It wasn't bad at all, but it's 8 out of 10. Pretty good episode. You know, I got an 8 out of 10 on IGN. Dexter returns, reborn with a few tweaks and fidgets to the formula, but not so as to mask the malicious fun of the hallmarks from the old show that return anew under original showrunner Clyde Phillips. Michael C. Hall slips effortlessly back into his old sociopath role as time away and change of scenery has done wonders to revitalize this once omnipresent pop culture icon. Cold Snap is a great and grisly opener for New Blood, setting the stage and delivering a Dexter Morgan doing his damnedest to remain chaste on the murder front. Whether or not contextually this is all just a shot at a do-over feels irrelevant because New Blood's mix of old and new holds a ton of promise. There's a lot of cool things that the show's setting up to do. Dexter New Blood is a surprisingly welcome return to the franchise's brand of heady nonsense, self-conscious but not overly precious about its meta-awareness. It got a 3 out of 5 on Vulture. Hunting is assuredly a terrible thing, but if it takes something as relatively minor as that to break Jim's edge, then it seems like his Dark Passenger has an even stronger grip on him now than before. Seems like he's evolved almost with the Dark Passenger. To take it back to edging, that's the conflict with pleasure delaying. Depriving yourself of something you really, really want makes it all the better when you finally let yourself gorge, and then you just want more. Got a 3 out of 5 with Den of Geek. Overall, Cold Snap doesn't introduce any new wrinkles or compelling ideas that show this return is warranted. Obviously people originally were open to subsequent episodes, but so far, I don't know. Showtime is obviously doing it for money. We know that. That's what a spinoff is. Dexter is back, but only time will tell whether that's a good thing. Tension and logistical nightmares create high drama as the story branches into several mysteries and crises, missing and slain indigenous women, another potential apex predator, and a new generation of killers in the making. Some negative reviews. AV Club gave it a C-. The vicariously violent version of the show simply won't hunt, not in 2021, with so many anti-hero stories that confront, rather than conveniently dodge the moral boundaries, quandaries such a character creates. Hopefully the unpleasantness with Matthew will prove an unsavory means to an elegant end. This is after all definitely Dexter's last shot at one. New Blood seems simultaneously designed to appeal to all of those constituencies and none of them. It is competently told but a bit dull, and like its title character at this stage of his life, it seems too conflicted about all this blood and gore to enjoy it. Any of it. 3 out of 5 on the Daily Telegraph. Assessing its merits is a nettlesome task. There's the matter of whether it's a decent TV show, but then there's also the matter of whether it should have been resurrected at all. I like it so far. I think Harrison's introduction is a bit questionable, or reintroduction into the series, but it's cool to have at least one character besides Dexter from the original series return. So there you have it. I'm just going to leave you guys at that. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I am out. I got to go watch The Walking Dead, and then we're going to be listening to Kendrick. And yeah, I might stream at like 7. We'll see. I think we're going to be doing some more Minecraft, possibly Rocket League, reactions, all that sort of stuff until Madden comes out. We kind of got to try to keep you guys entertained in the meantime. But yeah. Well, guys, have